Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide Jason. There are many tales referenced in fantasy. When it comes to Asian mythology, you've probably heard the name of Kaguya-Hime. Well, who was she? Our tale comes from Japan, and is called the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. It is amongst the oldest of all written stories from Japan. Our story begins with a man named Takatori no Akina, or Old Bamboo Harvester, as he worked on a bamboo forest. Him and his wife were very old and poor. Despite their age, they had never had any children of their own, despite praying for one. He goes around cutting down bamboo stalks until he finds a shining one. It is his job to cut it down, and he does so. In doing so, he finds a baby girl around the size of his thumb. He believes that his prayers have been answered. Now him and his wife decide to raise the baby, and they name her as Ayotake no Kaguya-Hime, Shining Princess of the Young Bamboo. As he continued to cut down bamboo, he found a nugget of gold in each stalk, and as you can guess, it doesn't take long before they become very wealthy. And during all of that, Kaguya-Hime grows quickly. It took her only 3 months to become a grown woman of incredible beauty. She is said to be as pale as the moon. Some even go so far as to say that she shone with the light of the moon. Whenever her father was feeling down, just looking at her would raise his spirits. Often her parents would find her looking towards the sky at night, looking at the moon. Of course, her father tried to hide her, but that quickly failed and she was noticed. Soon she found herself with 5 suitors from noble houses, and they hound her and demand that she accepts one of them. They wait through the summer, and the winter, and the next summer, and Kaguya-Hime refused to see them. They sang songs and played their flutes, and still she refused. They spoke with their father. He wanted her to marry and be happy as he was growing on in years. He had no clue how much longer he would live, though she does agree to write a letter for each of them. So what does any reasonable person do in such a situation? Well, she gives them each an impossible task to complete. They are each to bring her one thing: the stone begging bowl of the Buddha, a jeweled branch from the mythical islands of Hawaii, a robe of fire rat skins, a colored jewel from the dragon's neck, and a cowrie shell born from a swallow, though some say that the shell is found in the swallow's stomach. Now, I bet a few of you need some context. The forest is a black bowl you may see in paintings of Buddha, which glows with holy light. Hawaii is a mythical island in Chinese mythology, with trees made of living metal which grow as precious gemstones like fruit. The third task involves finding the huoshu, or the fire rats. The hair from this rat was woven into clothing, which when burned in a fire would instead come out clean. Why isn't this a Pokemon yet? Regardless, the fourth one is pretty self-explanatory, since you are dealing with a dragon that lives underwater. Lastly is the type of snail shell that does not grow on the back of a swallow. So which one should be the easiest, do you think? Well, the branch would be mine, since her father was finding gold in bamboo. Maybe the dragon gems, except that noble chickened out when caught in a storm. They each set out to find the items she requests, and their work takes years. But none of the nobles could do it, and every one of them attempted to use a forgery. Of course, Kaguya-Hime proves that. Well, except for the last one, he dies trying to reach the swallow's nest. Still, a single new suitor arrives, the Jade Emperor himself. First he sends a court messenger, but was rejected. So the Emperor came himself. In secret, he spies on her before meeting face to face. She asks to keep her face concealed behind her sleeve, a feat which would normally be unheard of. Yet the Emperor agrees. She doesn't give him an impossible task, but reminds him that since she is not of his country, it would be impossible for her to be with him. When he asks again, she said that she would vanish from the world. As she did so, she begins to vanish. Her form returns when the Emperor agrees, but they do remain pen pals for 3 years. As time passes, Kaguya-Hime becomes upset and shows irrational behavior. Her adoptive parents come to her and ask her what is going on. In time, She revealed that she was not of this world, and the time was coming to return home to Tsukino-miyaku, the capital of the moon. Now, we get a little mystery here. Supposedly, she had committed some crime while on the moon, and was banished to the earth as punishment. But her punishment was to form emotional and material attachments to humans. The gold nuggets that her father kept finding was a stipend from the moon people to pay for her care. The rest of the details of the moonfolk was unknown to her, her memories blocked. The Emperor learns of the truth and sends guards to protect Kaguya-Hime, though he is unable to be in attendance. On the fated night, the guards are blinded as heavenly beings descend on a chariot. Her father begs them to let her stay, saying that he has known her for decades and she cannot be the same woman that they seek. Yet they refuse his request. Kaguya-Hime writes notes to her parents and the Emperor. The moonfolk also give her a vial of the elixir of immortality, which she only drinks a little. She also sends the rest of the elixir of immortality to the Emperor through his guards. As they leave, a robe of feathers is placed on her shoulders, and it wipes away all of her sadness and compassion for the people she knew and met. Her parents are left in tears and soon fall ill. As for the Emperor, he is distraught as well, but he doesn't take the potion. Instead, he writes a letter and tells his men to take it to the highest mountain, Mount Fuji, and burn it and the potion in hopes that it will reach her, for he does not want to live forever without her. Thus ends the tale. Truly, it is a sad tale on all fronts. We never learn much of Kaguya-Hime's true nature. We do know that she was a criminal of some sort amongst her people, but we could deduce some ideas. Part of her punishment was forming strong bonds with humans around her. They wanted her to feel for them and dread losing them. And this is what happens twice, in leaving and when the robes were placed on her. We can assume that this robe was meant to remove her feelings. But doesn't that undo her punishment? Maybe? This is just a wild guess, and pure speculation. But her crime must have been something tied with connections. Perhaps, due to her refusing to marry, that would be part of it. Maybe she ran away from her wedding or something. The problem is, we do know nothing about the moonfolk. We know they exist, have some sort of judicial system, the power to travel to and from the earth, and they know about gold. And that is all really simple and shallow. Truly, we know nothing substantial. We don't know the why of anything. So what do we know? Well, are they aliens? Well, by definition they are. Maybe I should do a video discussing the ancient astronaut theory and the Silurian hypothesis. That'll be another time. Though we can make some speculations. They have some sort of environment on the moon, and it is comparable to Earth if they can survive on the Earth. Obviously, they have some forms of magic, and have observed humans for a time. Yeah, sounds like aliens. I guess we are at the point between fantasy and science fiction in this story. We can determine a bit by looking at the 5 tasks: a begging bowl, a jeweled branch, a rat robe, a dragon's gem, and the shell of a bird. Do you see a pattern? Well, 2 of them are gemstones, so expensive. The rat robe is easy to clean and valuable that way. A bowl for begging, something generous perhaps? And the shell from a bird, something that doesn't exist, one that doesn't belong. You could say that she is the shell from the bird, and that is the thread. For the jeweled branch, the suitor had to go to another land. It was the journey that was important. She was the one on the journey to a foreign land. In fact, she even confessed this to the Emperor. And we could tie this back to the dragon's gem. Now, the rat robe has 2 connections. Rats are seen as pests. In that way, it is like her being marked and punished. Yet the second connection comes in the feathered robes. Both are meant for cleansing, one of dirt, the other of connections. What about the begging bowl? Well, it was the light which was missing that tipped her off, on it being a fake. You could compare it to the light of the moon. Now, I do have a question. She sent the elixir of immortality to the Emperor for him to drink. It would seem that she sought to make him immortal, but to what purpose? It would seem that she had found a suitor. is that she sought to eventually return and marry the Emperor. Yes, I know, this is a long shot. To find a way to return to Earth and join up with a fellow immortal. I could see that working. Oh, it would take time. But what is time to an immortal? It may seem that she did fall for him. Or at least, she found him to be pleasant company. Though, why did she not give the elixir to her parents? Well, they were old when she was found, and would likely remain old even after drinking the potion. It is possible that either the potion wouldn't work on them, or that they wouldn't want to remain old and may be suffering. Of course, this is all just speculation. So what do you think of this tale? It is a simple story of unrequited love, and of the bonds between family. Ultimately, it is a tragedy. A family separated, and a failed loves. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.